Good morning, class 12. Children, yesterday I had sent you all the PPT, okay, for the Cold War, and I wanted you all to go through it. Okay, so let's see now, okay, what is your Cold War, and we all have, we know it, okay, actually, but because we have studied, no, you have studied earlier also in class 10 what is Cold War. Okay, so let's see now what are the causes, okay, of the Cold War. So in this chapter, this is a chapter 9, okay, in your your world history. So here we're going to deal with your causes of the Cold War, that's their origin, the course of the war, and its impact. Okay, so as we see, the start of the Cold War era is 1945. That's the end of World War II until 1991, and 1991 is the final disintegration of your Soviet Republic, that is USSR. Okay, and that's how you have your 17 independent states being formed. Okay, after your disintegration of your USSR, right? So you can see here, and what basically is your Cold War? Okay, so it is just a battle of ideologies. The ideologies here is a battle of principles, and that's what your two countries believed in. Okay, that's the USSR and your USA. Okay, so when you look at the ideology of USSR, it is communism. Okay, we know communist country that it's established itself as a communist country in the year 1917. Okay, if you remember the Bolshevik Revolution. Okay, so with it we had the establishment of your USSR. Okay, and communism there, sorry, in USSR. Okay, so that's the Union of Soviet Socialist Republic and United States. Okay, following your democracy, a capitalist country. Okay, so that was the philosophy, the principle, okay, the ideology of these two countries. So it was your battle of ideologies and changing the balance of power. So when we look at 1945, the end of World War II, okay, we had seen, okay, two superpowers emerging. Okay, and that was your US and your USSR. Okay, so Cold War, it is a geopolitical tension, okay, that started after World War II, because we see no fight over any territory, okay, but it was just a mutual distrust, between two countries. Okay, because of that we have many proxy wars being formed, being fought. Okay, proxy wars where you have these two countries not really seen that they are not involved in the war, but they had the backing. Okay, so for example, if you look at the Vietnam War, then you have the Korean War, then you have the Afghan War, where you have the involvement of these two countries, that is USA and USSR. So they were the proxy wars, okay, that was being fought, and it is backed up by these countries. Okay, so it is a battle of ideologies and changing the balance of power, right? So we see here now the wartime unity that was there among the allied powers, that was there, all during the World War II. Okay, we had seen the allied powers together, that is your Britain, France, Russia together. Okay, but now after this World War ends, okay, you see the change in power. Okay, and this the wartime unity which is there between these countries, socially slowly now again, okay, starts to widen. Okay, because they fail to come to an agreement. Okay, agreement how? What? That is the terms and conditions of the treaty that has to be imposed on Germany now. Okay, because seeing that Germany now, how should Germany being treated, right? Like we had seen in World War One, after the end of World War One. Okay, Germany, okay, the defeated country. Okay, and how it was treated by the victorious countries with the Treaty of Versailles. So now again here with the end of World War Two. Okay, how are we going to now? Okay, what are the treaties that we are going to impose on Germany? Okay, so that is what that was there, and that is how they met at Yalta. Okay, that's in Crimea, Russia, to speak about the fate of Germany, right? Okay, so the main basic cause here now that starts with, okay, the Cold War is the battle of ideologies. Okay, and that is between your US and USSR. So the term that is used to describe the relationship between America and Soviet Union, 1945 to 1980, that is termed as the Cold War. That era is a Cold War. Okay, because we see that neither side fought the other. They did not fight, right? As I said, not over any territory, but the consequences that we see would be too appalling. But they did fight for their beliefs, their ideology. That is one country believing in democracy, where USA had already called themselves as the arsenal of democracy. Okay, and that was very much contradictory. Okay, when you see their involvement in the Vietnam War. okay, where people of USA did go against the then President Nixon, okay, that was there, right? So that was their belief, right? They call themselves at the arsenal of democracy, okay? So they fought for their belief using, but then they used other states. So that is what we call it as the proxy war, the false war, okay? But they were where they were not involved really, okay, but the other countries fought for their beliefs on their behalf, okay? So that is your geopolitical tension. That is, we call it as your Cold War. So the competition between the superpowers influenced the foreign policies, political institutions, and economic systems of societies in almost every corner of the world. Okay, so here you have the three big B, okay, that we call them as your Churchill. Okay, then you have your Roosevelt and Stalin, okay, at Yalta in Feb 1945. Okay, where they all met, and then they had agreed about the plan of partitioning Germany among themselves. Okay, that was called your occupational zone, right? So that is how it was to be divided among these four countries, right? So this is how they met here, that is at the end of your World War II. Now, from where did this principle, okay, of the two countries following come? Okay, right? We had already seen it actually last year. On we had done about the communism, and who the father of communism being Karl Marx, and that theory, okay, where they believed socialism, communism, where they believed in the division of your the state property, okay, by the to the people, right, to the welfare of the people. So that is what your USSR believed in. That's how you have the Petrograd movement, okay, the Bolshevik revolution. So the very cause, okay, of your your communism, okay, sorry, the Cold War, that starts in 1917, okay, where actually these countries, they wanted to crush the nip at itself, okay, when you had the rise of the Bolshevik revolution, okay. So you have the establishment done, okay, of communism, Karl Marx. So following, that is your USSR following this ideology or this theory. And this side you have your Adam Smith, okay, where you have growth of your private entrepreneurship, okay, and that's how capitalism, and that was believed by your America, okay. So this is a belief of ideology that is based on, okay, this economist, right, Karl Marx and Adam Smith. So again, here, so as we see, what is communism? Okay, the Communist Manifesto. So where you have communism was based, okay, on this 1848 publication that is called a Communist Manifesto with Karl Marx and your Frederick Engels. Okay, where they, propagated peace, bread, land. That means for the society. They spoke for the society. They wanted a classless society. Okay, so that's what the ideology. Okay, the fight of ideology comes from. This is the basis of, okay, where the two countries are fighting for their ideology. It comes from Karl Marx and your Adam Smith, okay. So, and again, as I said, what is capitalism? Capitalists believe that markets are efficient and thus and should thus function without interference, and that is the role of the state is to regulate and protect. That is what Adam Smith said. So giving space to your private entrepreneurship, right? That is what America believed in. Now, why were these two superpowers so distrustful of the other? Okay, so look at the reasons why they were so distrustful, right? First, America, they're free elections, so democratic country, okay, it is capitalist country, and they believed in survival of the fittest, okay. So that's how America, okay, the capitalist country, divided into haves on the have-nots, okay. We do not have, the middle class there, but you have the poor, rich of the richest and the poor of the poorest, okay, in America, right. So that's the richest world power, and you have personal freedom. Whereas in Soviet Union, there are no elections are fixed, okay. You have autocratic dictatorship, as we had seen with the beginning of Stalin, okay, where you believed in one state, okay, one party rule, right. So communist country, so that means everybody helps everybody, and you have a poor economic base. That means all the resources of the country is owned by the state, okay, not by any private individual. So that was their ideology, how they functioned. And society also controlled the secret police, and there were total censorship, whereas in America you have freedom of media. That is how we call it as a democratic country, right. So these were the areas, okay, why you have so much of distrustful, okay, between the two countries and their belief and their ideology. So as you can clearly see in this table here, okay, what America believed in, okay, and what Soviet Union believed in, being in the political front or in the social front, okay. So war before the war. So as we see the causes, why it's called war before the war, because the Bolsheviks, If you remember the Bolsheviks, okay, Lenin, there, Vladimir Lenin, okay, when we have the Bolshevik Revolution in 1919, 1900, sorry, 18, okay, 17, right, in Russia, okay, where you have the establishment of the Bolsheviks. So the Bolsheviks had started in 1919, and that was the first socialist movement in Russia that overthrew the existing Russian government. The Tsardom, okay, had come to an end because of the Bolshevik Revolution, and that's how you have a communism being established in Russia. So in December 1922 began the formation of Union of Soviet Socialist Republics. Okay, so you have all, the states, okay, and they were called together as Soviet. Okay, they were, how we have the workers, okay, union. Okay, so that is what they call it as a Soviet. Okay, that's how the term Soviet comes, right? Okay, the union of workers, right? So that was formed in Russia. So with it begins the communist era or the communist control, right? But here, the capitalist United States refused to recognize the Soviet state until 1933 because they believed in your democracy. So the seeds of hostility, if you see, between the United States and USSR had already began near the end of World War One. Okay, so that their rise actually, the conflict, the main reason, okay, the underlying reason here, okay, for the Cold War, right, is in the Bolshevik Revolution. Because when civil war had broken out here in USSR, then you see America, England, France, and Japan, they had sent troops to Russia in support of the counter revolutionaries. Okay, and why did they send that? Because these powers, they wanted to nip your Bolsheviks in the bud. Okay, so they did not want the Bolsheviks to grow because they were against this ideology of communism. Okay, but then we had seen ultimately the communist won, right? Okay, so that's how this USA, okay, was very much hostile, okay, against your USSR. So the seeds of hostility between the United States and USSR had began near the end of World War One, and America had depicted the Soviet Union as almost the devil incarnate. Okay, the Soviet Union had depicted America likewise. Okay, so both of them, okay, was not very fond of, right, each other, you can see. So it is because of the ideology they believed in. Okay, so USA and USSR, as I already mentioned, okay, their friendship was there. Okay, the big three, they were already there. But now the wartime allies, okay, who were there together, now the cleavage was slowly being sowed here now, okay, between these countries, between America and USSR, right? So the causes of Cold War. Now we have the end of World War II and the changes in the balance of power, okay, which starts with your first rebuilding Europe, okay, and that's your Truman Doctrine, your doctrine that is your Harry S. Truman, okay, of America. That's your economic help that was given. Then you have your European Recovery Program, okay, and the Marshall Plan. So these were all your economic aid actually, okay, given to all those countries, okay, because USSR wanted to establish communism, okay, in the Eastern European countries, and we had already seen, okay, how your Germany, okay, had taken over. Germany had already taken over your Poland, right? Okay, and Russia now also wanted to spread communism, okay, because Germany had taken half part of of your the outer thing of Poland, okay, and that's how USSR also wanted entire Poland. They had taken over over Czechoslovakia. So when this happens here, okay, we also have USSR also introducing, okay, its plan like your Molotov plan, okay, that also comes an economic aid to these Eastern European countries. Okay, so Soviet troops, they occupy your Eastern Europe and the Iron Curtain, and that's how the world, okay, your Europe is divided, and they are called as your Eastern Bloc and your Western Bloc. So Eastern Europe, that's the Eastern European country, okay, all of it, Czechoslovakia, Yugoslavia, Bulgaria, all of these countries, okay, were under the control of USSR, okay, and your Western European country were under your the rule of US, okay, where you see Germany also being divided as East Germany and West Germany. Okay, so I'll again come back. I'll stop here for today, children, and tomorrow again we are going to discuss with the causes of the Cold War. So please listen to the video and please make a note of the explanation. You've already got the slide yesterday, but what I've explained, please make a note of all those and send that as an assignment for today. Okay, thank you.